Hello, everybody, and welcome to Algebra 1 with Mr. Chavez. So today we're going to continue learning about breaking down a trinomial. Now, we have x squared plus 18x minus 40. And the first thing we're going to do is make sure everything has a sign and a coefficient. Now that everything has a sign and a coefficient, we're going to label our A, B, and C value. Remember, your A value is always to the x squared. So we can say positive 1. My B value is always going to be next to the x, which is positive 18. And my C value is going to be the constant, which is negative 40. Now that I labeled my A, B, and C, I'm going to go ahead and make a table. On the left side, I'm going to have A times C. On the right side, it's going to be B. So we have A, which is positive 1, so positive 1, times C, which is negative 40. So positive 1 times negative 40 gives you negative 40. Now we have B, which is positive 18. And since we're looking for two factors, remember, we have positive times a positive, negative times a negative, and positive times a negative. Well, if I want two factors that multiply and give you a negative, I can only have a positive times a negative. So what that means is one of my factors is going to be positive and one is going to be negative. We're going to write the factors in ascending order, which would be 1 times 40, 2 times 20, 4 times 10, and 5 times 8. Now, one of them has to be a positive, one of them has to be a negative. Well, if I'm looking for B to be positive, that means the greatest integer has to be a positive. So you look at your factors, and the biggest one is going to be positive. Now you're going to go ahead and find your answers. So we could say negative 1 plus 40. Since they're not the same, 40 minus 1 gives you 39. And since 40 is bigger, it's going to be a positive. Now, negative 2 plus 20, that gives us positive 18. Negative 4 plus 10, that gives you positive 6. Negative 5 plus 8, that gives you positive 3. And the number we're looking for is positive 18. So we're just going to go positive 18. So I'm going to set up my binomials. So x, and we have minus 2 and plus 20. Now we factored out this trinomial having a positive b and a negative c. What would happen if we have a negative b and a negative c? Let's find out. All right, now we have x squared minus x minus 20. First thing we want to do is make sure everything has a sign and a coefficient. So we could say positive 1x squared minus 1x minus 20. Now, we're going to go ahead and label our A, B, and C. So A is equal to, B is equal to, and C is equal to. A is equal to positive 1 because it's next to the x squared. B is equal to negative 1 because it's next to my x. And C is equal to negative 20. Now that I have identified A, B, and C, I'm going to go ahead and set up a table. So A times C on the left and B on the right. So now we're going to use substitution to fill out the table. So A is going to be positive 1. C is going to be negative 20. Positive 1 times negative 20 is negative 20. My B value is going to be negative 1. Now, remember, we're looking for two factors that multiply and give you a negative 20. We have positive times a positive, negative times a negative, and positive times a negative. Well, if it's going to multiply and give me a negative, that means I'm going to use a positive times a negative. Because a positive times a negative is a negative. Now, we're going to write the factors in ascending order. So we're going to do 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. Since we know one of these integers is going to be positive and one of them is going to be negative, we're going to look at our b value. Our b value is negative. So what that means is my biggest integer is going to be negative. So I'm going to go ahead from the pair, put negative to the biggest integer. So negative 20, negative 10, and negative 5. Now all I have to do is combine them. So positive 1 minus 20 gives you negative 19. Positive 2 minus 10 gives you negative 8. Positive 5 minus 4 gives you negative 1. And since we're looking for a negative 1, my answer is positive 4 minus 5. So we will write it as x plus 4 and x minus 5. So now you just learned how to factor out a trinomial. If the c value is negative, that means one of the integers is going to be positive, one of them is going to be negative. To figure out which integer is going to be positive and which is going to be negative, you always have to refer to your b value. If you have any questions, please let me know.